Hello everyone, what is up and welcome back to the channel I Hate Rumors. Today is gonna be my one-on review of the M4 14-inch MacBook Pro. This one the review is actually slightly delayed. Not just that, I didn't have time to test the whole MacBook out before I actually give a review because the 2 weeks review itself was just too bland. I didn't really talk about it. I didn't really talk much about it, but it was just a 2 weeks review. But when I'll be doing a one-on review, I gotta get things right. That is the reason why I took some time before I got onto the review. But now here we are. After using it for 1 month, let's talk about how good this MacBook actually is and what are the things that are not really so good about it. Of course, like always, this is going to be just like all our review styles. So without further ado, let's get started right into this review of the M4 MacBook Pro. Okay, so here is my MacBook. Firstly, let's take a look at the exterior of this laptop. Here we can see that the exterior for now is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, there's no scratches, and of course I'm so happy that there isn't any scratches or dents or any marks on this. So that is something that I can be really happy about. And if we open the MacBook up, everything is in pristine condition for right now. If that's done, now let's move on to the MacBook itself. But it is something that really killed the battery a lot. This MacBook is actually supposed to be 100% in the battery health, or maybe even 99, but 99 itself is actually very bad. And for it to be 98%, that is purely my own fault. If you remember, a few weeks ago, I posted this charger is the best for the MacBook Pro. Well, that video was a pretty short video. The time I spent for the video was actually very long. I actually had to drain the battery multiple times again and again, and I have to time it to see which charges the MacBook the fastest. And to kill the battery fast, what did I do? I tried to run multiple apps, I tried to run all the battery draining apps, tried to run 4K videos. I was continuously exporting the same video again and again on Final Cut Pro, and everything was putting a strain on this MacBook, and the battery health would deplete so fast. Once I was done all my testing, I saw that the battery health within a few days, the battery health just dropped by a whole 2%. Definitely wasn't worth it, and I definitely do not recommend you guys to do it. So that is a mistake on my part. If not, the battery health would have been much better. And talking about battery health, since we just got started on battery itself at the start, I just want to mention my battery life on this MacBook. If I'm not editing videos, this MacBook definitely lasts me more than 2 days. But let's say if I'm exporting just one video a day and I'm just using it for light web browsing and all that, this MacBook easily lasts me more than a day as well. So the battery life is actually pretty good. Battery life is actually lasting me for more than a day on regular normal usages. And as for charging, and I mean, we have already talked about it, but I just want to mention that I'm using the normal Apple MagSafe charger. I've already talked about it in a separate video, but just going to say that from 0 to 100 takes about 1.5 to 2 hours, depends on the charger. So I'm just going to give it a buffer of time of 30 minutes. So that's how long it takes to charge. And talking about battery health, we cannot neglect thermal problems. Well, this MacBook, I've never ever seen it heat up. I've never once been able to put a cooling pad on it except for the battery test. That was just the one time, but other than that, when I'm exporting videos and stuff, I don't really need, because this MacBook never heats up. We have two USB-C ports over here, and at this side we have got HDMI and USB-C, and we've got a SD card slot. This port selection is really good. Because of this, I don't really have to rely on any dongles for me to transfer my data over. I think I've already talked about it a lot. Other than this, that's just about a practicality thing. I don't know how many of you have actually felt it, but for me, the HDMI port at the side always collects a lot of dirt. Like, let's say it's like small paper debris or something, it really just easily goes inside the HDMI slot. So that's kind of like a bummer. I just have to be really careful. Paper or whatever debris that is inside, so I just got to be careful. So you got to be really careful when it. I think I would recommend maybe getting a small cover that covers the ports. Just these 3 ports, the MagSafe and the 2 USB-C ports at the side tend to not collect easily because debris doesn't go in easily. It's just the HDMI port. Now if you take a look at the tapping experience on this MacBook, it's really smooth. I mean, I don't really have any complaints. At the same time, I don't really have any compliments as well. It's just like a normal MacBook keyboard. The travel is good. Everything is just like a normal MacBook keyboard. No complaints, at the same time nothing to really brag about. Just the speaker quality, we have tested it multiple times. I don't really have to show it again. I really don't want to repeat and waste your time. But on the real world, how has the speaker held up for me? I have no comments about it. The reason for me saying that is not because the speaker is bad or what. It's just because I did not use the speaker. That's it. I really didn't use the speaker because most of the time I was just using it on the go, so it's always AirPods in. And sometimes when I want to use speaker, I don't really put it to max. Sometimes even when I use speakers, it's not really that often. It's just like for maybe a few minutes. It's just that the speakers are really good. Like I've seen in all the testings, I really love it. But it's just that I really didn't use it to the maximum potential yet. So maybe in the future, maybe it might. For now, currently with what I'm doing, I don't use the speakers at all. It's always just AirPods. So yeah, how has this laptop been for me for portability? And to be honest, to see the actual reason. I don't know how many of you are going to trust me in this, but this is actually what's happening. My M4 MacBook Pro actually feels much lighter when I carry it compared to my M1 MacBook Pro. Even though this is thicker, it's a bigger machine, this still feels much lighter. This M4 MacBook Pro still feels much lighter. So bringing it around and versatility is actually very easy. Next part is about the touch bar. Without touch bar, I think I've already talked about it. I think I've already mentioned touch bar, but now without touch bar, I actually feel it's really much better to use function keys because I don't have to worry about the touch bar getting stuck. Even though I love the touch bar, it's just form over functionality. Form of functionality, I'm probably choosing functionality. So my MacBook is the space gray version. If it slightly touches the wall, I don't really mind because sometimes it just happens so, but now I gotta be extra careful. It's not that I let my MacBooks hit places or what. I usually take care of my tech parts really well, but just sometimes I just have this slightly carefree mind. But with this MacBook, I can't be having that. And the reason, I think you all know, is just the space black color. Other than that, I think you would have already seen that the black color here really accumulates a lot of fingerprints. And even if there's a bit of dirt, it really shows up on the MacBook. So you've got to be really cleaning it. Well, that's not really possible all the time, but I'm just doing my best to keep it clean. I think we have already talked about a lot of things, but we just didn't do the basic thing that we always do, and that is Geekbench. So now let's quickly run a Geekbench test on this MacBook, and let's take a look at these scores. So here I've got Geekbench opened up. Let's run the CPU and the GPU benchmarks. So here is the results for the Geekbench, and I just wanted to compare it with my old results. We've got a 3695 for single core, 14826 for multi-core. Take a look at the old score. 3693 for a single core and 14880 for multi-core. Just a small difference, so that's clearly no difference in performance. Other than this, the last thing that I want to talk about is the form factor of this MacBook. Coming from an M1 MacBook Pro to the M4 MacBook Pro, the form factor is really the perfect one for the MacBook. So when I'm using this MacBook on my lap, it just feels as a much more sturdy machine. It's good to work on, and that also does come with its own disadvantages, because since this is a more sturdy machine, and when I want to put my hands and when I want to tap, when I'm tapping for a long time, it really eats into my hands. The thickness really feels like a problem when I'm typing or I'm using it for too long. But other than that, for better connectivity, having more ports and a better thermal system, I think that this is a good trade-off. I would definitely take it. If you're going to be using on a normal regular usage, I'm pretty sure you won't be able to find that much of a difference other than the really great HDR screen and the really fantastic speakers. These are one of the main things that you would see as a difference. Other than that, I don't think you really see many difference because it's the same macOS, so you don't really see much of a difference. In the end, if you ask me, should you upgrade to this MacBook? It definitely depends on what MacBook or what computer are you using right now. If you're using one of the latest Windows computer and you want to change to the MacBook, then that definitely depends on its factor. Like, do you want to try macOS? If you have a specific use case for macOS, if you really have to change, then the M4 MacBook Pro is a value for money. So if you want to change, then maybe you could give it a try if you want to try a MacBook, but still the MacBook Air would be a better option. But if you're having one of the best Windows PCs, then maybe you can try the M4 MacBook Pro. But if you're coming from a MacBook, I think, let's say if you're coming from an M1 MacBook Air, then maybe this upgrade is a really good one for you. You get a new form factor, a better cooling machine, then you can maybe upgrade. If you have really good use case for it, let's say you're using it for production, for video editing, for maybe a lot of graphics intensive application, then you might feel a difference. You're going to be using this MacBook, the task that the M1 MacBook Air is made for, then you wouldn't see a difference except for the screen and speakers. That's actually been my review for the M4 MacBook Pro after 1 month. So like I said, slightly delayed by 1 month, sorry for that. Some of you already mentioned that the microphone is actually not good and you can barely make out what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to see on the software and what I can do to better enhance the audio quality. So if you see any difference and if you spot it, have it better or worse, just to let me know. Your feedbacks are really important to me for me to find the perfect audio. The next few videos are definitely going to be, the audio is going to be fluctuating because I'm going to be trying out multiple voice enhancers. So take a look at it, let me know how you see in the comments below. I'll definitely be waiting for your comments and your feedbacks for me to improve the videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch all of you in the next one. Bye bye.